Rose, can I ask you something?
Always, go for it.
Think about the last big thing you actually finished. Something that really mattered to you. Did you get there because you felt motivated that day or because you just did it, even without wanting to?
Honestly, Jack, it was never the motivation. Motivation showed up maybe twice during the whole thing.
So what carried you the rest of the way?
Just showing up. Again and again, even on the days I didn't feel like it at all.
That's exactly the question I've been sitting with lately.
Why?
Because I think most of us have been chasing the wrong thing this whole time.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Rose and Jack Everyday English. This is the place where you can improve your English through calm, natural conversations about life, mindset, and everyday moments. I'm Rose.
And I'm Jack.
Today, we're talking about why discipline beats motivation.
Motivation feels amazing, but it disappears just as fast as it arrives.
Discipline is quieter, but it's what actually gets things done, whether you feel like it or not.
If you're a B1 or B2 learner, this one's for you.
And if you're stronger or newer, just relax, listen, and enjoy.
So let's start with the obvious question. Why is motivation so unreliable?
Because it's just a feeling, Jack. That's it. It's not a plan. It's not a system. It's a mood.
And moods come and go.
Exactly. Motivation depends on how you slept, what you ate, whether someone said something nice to you that morning. It's basically weather.
I like that. Motivation is weather.
Some days it's sunny and you feel unstoppable. Other days it's raining and you can't even open your laptop.
And you can't control the weather.
No. But you can still leave the house with an umbrella.
Okay, that's a quotable line right there. You can't control the weather, but you can still leave the house with an umbrella.
Write it down.
I actually saw this play out with my own gym routine last year. I started because I was motivated. First week, I was there every single day, full of energy.
Classic.
Second week, it rained, I was tired, and the motivation just vanished, completely gone.
Just showing up again and again, even on the days I didn't feel like it at all. And what happened?
I stopped going for almost a month.
Because you were waiting for the feeling to come back.
Exactly. I thought I needed to feel like going before I could go.
But that's the trap, isn't it? We treat motivation like a requirement when really it's just a bonus.
A bonus. I like that too.
Think about people who actually build something long-term. A business, a body, a skill. They're not motivated every single day. Nobody is.
So what are they doing differently?
They stopped waiting for permission from their own mood.
That's such a strange thing to say out loud, but it's true. We wait for our mood to give us permission to act.
And moods are terrible at keeping promises.
It's funny because we don't do this with other things. You don't wait to feel motivated to brush your teeth.
No, you just do it. It's automatic. It's not up for debate.
So why do we treat bigger goals differently?
Because we've been taught, maybe by movies, maybe by social media, that big things need big feelings behind them, that real change has to feel dramatic.
But most real change is actually pretty boring.
Painfully boring most of the time. Small, repeated, unglamorous actions.
Here's something I've noticed in myself. On the days I feel the most motivated, I often get the least done.
Why do you think that is?
Because I spend the energy feeling excited about the idea instead of actually doing the work.
Motivation can become a substitute for action instead of a fuel for it.
Say that again, that's good.
Motivation can become a substitute for action instead of a fuel for it.
That should go straight onto the screen somewhere.
There's actually research behind this, too. Psychologists talk about motivation as an emotional state, not a resource you can store up. It rises and falls with your nervous system, your sleep, even the weather outside your window.
So it's not a character flaw if you don't feel motivated.
Not at all. It just means you're human. The problem starts when we treat the absence of motivation as a valid reason to stop.
And that's where discipline comes in.
That's exactly where discipline comes in, because discipline doesn't ask how you feel.
It just asks what's next.
Right. And that's a completely different relationship with your own actions.
Okay, I'm hooked. So if motivation is this unreliable weather system, what does discipline actually look like day to day? Because I don't think it's just trying harder.
It's not. And that's exactly what we'll get into after the break.
Stay with us.
Welcome back. So, Jack, before the break, you asked what discipline actually looks like day to day.
I did, because just try harder has never worked for me.
It doesn't work for anyone, honestly. Willpower is exhausting. Here's what I think discipline really is. It's deciding once instead of deciding every single day.
Deciding once?
Yes, instead of asking yourself every morning, should I go for a run today? You already decided months ago that you're someone who runs in the morning. It's not a debate anymore.
So the decision happens one time, and after that, it's just execution.
Exactly. I don't debate it, I just do it. That's the whole philosophy.
I love that line. I don't debate it, I just do it.
It sounds simple, but it removes so much mental weight. Think about how much energy we waste negotiating with ourselves.
Oh, constantly. Maybe I'll do it after this show. Maybe tomorrow is better. Maybe I'm too tired tonight.
That negotiation is exhausting, and it happens before you've even started the actual task.
Can I ask you something now, Rose?
Go ahead.
Is there something in your own life where you've done this, where you've removed the daily decision completely?
Writing, actually. For years, I told myself I'd write when I felt inspired. I wrote maybe 5 pages a year that way.
And now?
Now I write every morning at 7 before I even check my phone. It's not a choice anymore. It's just what happens at 7.
No debate.
No debate. Some mornings I don't feel like it at all, and I still sit down and write. The decision was already made a long time ago.
That's such a relief in a way. You're not fighting yourself every single day.
That's the real gift of discipline. It's not about being tougher than everyone else. It's about giving your future self one less argument to have.
I think that's the part people misunderstand most. They see disciplined people and assume it takes some enormous amount of willpower every day.
But it's actually the opposite. The willpower gets spent once at the beginning, when you've set the rule for yourself.
So the hard part's at the start, not the middle.
Exactly. The middle is just repetition. And repetition doesn't need willpower. It just needs consistency.
One less argument to have. That's good too.
I think people picture discipline as this intense, gritted teeth thing. But honestly, the most disciplined people I know look almost relaxed about it.
Because there's no internal battle happening.
Right. The battle already happened once when they made the decision. Everything after that is just following through on something they already agreed to.
It's almost like discipline is a form of kindness to yourself.
I actually think it is. You're protecting your future self from having to negotiate with a tired, unmotivated version of you at 11 at night.
That reframes the whole thing for me. It's not forcing yourself, it's removing the fight before it even starts.
Exactly. And once the decision is locked in, the action becomes almost automatic. Like brushing your teeth. Nobody debates brushing their teeth.
Nobody wakes up and asks, am I motivated to brush my teeth today?
Right. And that's the direction discipline moves things, from a debate every day to a habit you don't even question anymore.
So it's less about willpower and more about design. Designing your life so the decision is already made.
That's a great way to put it. And that idea, that small decided actions build into something bigger, is exactly what I want to get into next.
I have a feeling this next part is where it all comes together.
It really does. Let's get into it after this. Welcome back. So, Jack, we've talked about why motivation is unreliable, and we've talked about deciding once instead of negotiating every day. Now I want to get to the part that actually matters most, I think. What happens over time when you keep doing this?
The compounding part.
Exactly. Because here's the thing nobody tells you about discipline. On any single day, it looks tiny. You go for a 15-minute walk, you write 1 page, you answer 3 emails you didn't want to answer. None of that feels like anything on its own. It's almost embarrassing how small it looks.
I know that feeling. You do the small thing and think, that's it? That's the big secret?
Right. But that's exactly where people quit. They expect the small action to feel meaningful immediately, and when it doesn't, they assume it isn't working.
So what actually happens underneath it if it's not visible day to day?
You're building evidence. Every time you follow through, even in some tiny way, you're collecting proof about who you are. And after enough repetitions, that evidence turns into identity.
Say more about that. What do you mean by identity exactly?
I mean the story you tell yourself about yourself. If you run 4 times a week for 3 months, you're not just someone trying to get fit anymore. You start becoming, quietly, without announcing it to anyone, someone who runs. It stops being a task on a list and starts being a fact about you.
That's actually a big shift because a task can be skipped, but a fact about yourself feels harder to walk away from.
Exactly. And that's the real power of small, disciplined actions. They're not really about the 15 minutes of walking or the 1 page of writing. They're votes for the kind of person you're becoming.
Votes. I like that word. It makes it sound almost democratic, like you're constantly voting on your own identity without realizing it.
That's exactly what's happening. Every time you follow through, you cast a vote for I'm someone who follows through. Every time you skip it and make excuses, you cast the vote the other way. And over weeks and months, those votes add up into a majority, into who you actually are, not who you wish you were.
Such a different way to think about a Tuesday morning workout.
It really is. It's not just exercise, it's a small piece of evidence for the story of who you're becoming.
Can I be honest with you about something?
Of course.
For a long time, I thought identity came first. Like, I need to become a disciplined person and then I'll start doing disciplined things. But listening to you, I think it's actually backwards.
It is backwards in the best way. The actions come first, and the identity is built from watching yourself do them. You don't think your way into a new identity, you act your way into one repeated choice at a time.
So, discipline isn't really about being tough or having some special strength that other people don't have.
No, and I think that's the biggest misunderstanding people have. Discipline isn't a personality trait some people are born with and others aren't. It's a system. It's about making the right action so automatic, so built into your day that willpower barely needs to show up at all.
Willpower barely needs to show up at all. That's a strong line.
It's the truest thing I know about this. The goal was never to become a person with unlimited willpower. The goal is to build a life where you rarely need it, because the important things already happen without a fight.
Discipline isn't about willpower, it's about making things automatic.
That's it. Exactly. That's the whole idea in one sentence.
All right, now it's time for Word Walk. 5 useful words from today's conversation pulled straight from what we just talked about.
Let's start with unreliable. If something is unreliable, it can't be trusted to happen the same way every time. Motivation is unreliable. Some days it's there, some days it just isn't. You never quite know which version you'll get.
The next one is negotiate. When you negotiate with yourself, you go back and forth in your own head, arguing about whether to do something or not. I kept negotiating with myself about whether to go to the gym, and by the time I finished arguing, the day was already over.
I love how honest that one is, because we all do it almost every single day.
Third word is automatic. When something is automatic, it happens without you having to think about it or decide each time. After a few months, writing every morning became automatic for her. She didn't even have to convince herself anymore.
Fourth word, compound. In this context, it means small things add up over time and grow into something much bigger than they looked at first. Small, disciplined habits compound into a completely different life after a year.
That's a great one, and it's actually used a lot when people talk about money and interest too, not just habits.
True. Same idea, different topic. Money, habits, even relationships, really. And our last word for today, follow through. It means to actually complete an action you said you would do instead of just talking about it or planning it. She said she'd write today, and she followed through, even though she didn't feel like it at all.
Followed through. That's basically the whole episode in 2 words.
It really is. 5 words, 5 small tools for your everyday English. Unreliable, negotiate, automatic, compound, and follow through.
Try using one of them today, even in a small sentence to yourself, out loud if you can.
That's the fastest way to make new words actually stick in your memory.
So that's today's episode. Thank you so much for spending this time with us, wherever you're listening from.
Before we go, we want to leave you with one question to actually sit with, not just answer quickly. Where in your own life have you been waiting for motivation when what you really needed was just one decision made once?
Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's something you've been putting off for years.
We'd genuinely love to know. Drop your answer in the comments. We read every single one.
And if this episode gave you something to think about, subscribe to Rose and Jack, Everyday English. We're here every week with conversations just like this one.
Real talk, real English, no scripts pretending to be spontaneous.
Well, this one had a script, but you know what we mean.
Every conversation is a step closer to speaking English naturally.
See you in the next episode, friends.